Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis, with my 2 favorite co-hosts. Up top, we have Jojo. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Woo!
Doing great.
Okay.
Woohoo! Having a
Got that.
dance.
Amazing. And we have Jonathan.
Hi,
Raise some
there you
room.
are. There you are. You're both there. I'm holding you.
Thank you.
Holding-
You are our support system here, Jonathan. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh,
I'm ready to
I'm
talk about
excited.
this episode. First, can we just start off with, is this the only time ever in Survivor history where it wasn't a 2-part episode? Like, I've never seen a stupid to be continued.
There's been 2.
Tell me. I don't remember.
Okay, one was one of the seasons that Siri didn't win, and they
3.
let her get to the finale, so they didn't do tribal. She was part of she could win. She might be able to make it to the end. And then
Was
she
it
was
advantage get in that time?
I don't know if it was that time.
Hmm.
It wasn't Micronesia, so it was probably advantage getting. And then the other time was there was another time.
And there was literally a week space before you got to know. Wow.
To
Okay.
be continued. So I think this is the 3rd one. I just read that on Twitter. To be honest,
Okay,
I don't
oh
know.
my
It felt like to me that it's. I mean, I'm sure it has if you're saying it, but it felt like it never happened before either to me. So it must have been a while.
Hated it.
I was really upset by it. How do you feel about this to be continued, Jonathan?
I am not happy with the whole episode. I mean, I felt like there. I mean, we'll talk about it, but just that element of it at the end. Listen, there's no reason you can't. I know the reason. It's to manipulate the audience. So stop it. And there's no reason that they couldn't complete an episode or make it a little bit longer or whatever the case may be. So it's just kind of like baloney to just have it and make something different and newer, or something that you don't normally have. And no, not for me.
I really feel, because I'm not invested in what the outcome is, because I don't think that there's any other choice as to what the outcome is going to be. So it's not really that nail biting, oh my God, what is she going to do? We all know what she's going to do. But it just the whole episode leading up to that wasn't enough of an episode for me to be really on the edge of my seat here. So I'm just make it an hour and a half, make it 2 hours. We don't need Tough as Nails this week, or Tough as Nail can be pushed to 10 p.m. Eastern. It doesn't need to be on at 9.
I think I'm the only one who watches Tough as Nails, but yeah.
What could they?
Imagine Drag Race just didn't have a lip sync for your life. They're next week.
Or when there's a double save and it's a garbage 2 queens. That really pissed me off.
At least that's a conclusion, right?
Yeah. I mean, I want to see the end. I want to see tribal at the, or if there's an evacuation, someone leaves for medical reasons. I like having, as awful as it sounds, I like having someone leave at the end of every episode.
Well,
yeah, if there was an uncontrolled reason as to why it needed to be extended because of, a certain reason, or very unusual, when a certain someone was being accused of behavior towards women and stuff. If that was an extended episode that didn't complete it, I would get it. I would understand.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fine. And it's just, but when it's like I said, when it was done on purpose, and they set out to do this just because, and he kind of prefaces the whole episode, he starts off, Jeff, saying oh, and by the way, this is not happening tonight. And it's
this is just part 1.
And just for them, and I'm oh, you're prepping us for disappointment is why you're doing it at the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
I don't like that.
No, I don't like it. Oh, we have Whitney joining us. Hi, Whitney. Can't say forever, mostly dropping in to say hi. Hate the twist. Yeah, I'm with you, Whitney.
There.
We'll talk about the twist. I'm dying to talk about the twist too when we get there.
Okay, let's get to the twist, because I'm really excited to talk about this twist, because I definitely hated it. But we start this episode with Ricard and Shan going back to their camp. And I thought they both really handled this poorly. what the heck happened between these two? I feel like they are the most strategic so far from what we've seen out of everybody that's playing the game so far, but they've also had to go to tribal more often. So they have been playing the game more than everybody else is, so to speak. But they really ruined their trust between each other. And like it was for no reason. I think that they are actually very good for each other. I think that they definitely complement each other strategically. Like he sets in, this is the idea, and Shan goes and executes. They work well together. So the fact that they both are ruining it on their ends, I was just like, why? What's happening?
I think we're seeing, like we heard from the I don't know tribe names, guys. Don't come for me. The yellow tribe that they hadn't
Yeah,
eaten in
okay.
3 days. And so I who knows, this might be the same thing. So it's like I feel like the added stress of on top of the environmental stress, but the added stress of going to tribal back to back to back, kind of a thing, is has gotten to them. And the elements plus the stress of the game itself, because they've had it worse than anyone really, it has gotten to them. And it was so sloppy, it was done terribly. I was like, this is crazy. I mean, good, I enjoyed watching it, but it was just totally bad for their games. And to me, I was just like, you know what, this is accumulation of just all of their stress of losing, and not eating perhaps, and all this craziness just all in one. And it's gotten to where two people are left on a tribe, and you're like, just emotions is all I can explain it with. So I don't know.
What were your thoughts, Jojo? Same, I'm sure, but
Yeah, oh, definitely the same. I think they both handled their last 2 days together pretty poorly. And I like them as a duo for sure, but when Shan says that she doesn't trust Ricard as much as she did, then it makes me question why she evicted or why she eliminated Jeannie over Ricard. I think she should have taken the shot if she felt like I don't trust him.
well, it's probably maybe it is because she was planning on keeping Jeannie, but he didn't give her back the advantage, so she couldn't keep him. Like maybe she really was going to use it against him. And we don't really know this because that would make more sense as to why she's a little bit more pissed off, why she's a little bit more second guessing everything that he's doing, and explained to her like how many times that she saved him and all this stuff. And so it could be her pissed off that like she has to keep this guy that she doesn't necessarily trust because she wants that damn advantage back. Maybe.
I mean, she shouldn't have given it to him in the first place. When it comes down to it, you never get rid of something that you don't want gone.
Absolutely.
I think that was the worst. One of her, maybe her only true bad move so far has been this extra vote gate.
Up until that point, because
yes.
I need to have a
we'll get there.
I need to talk to this woman. So Yase finds the merged tree mail. And so everybody's obviously getting really excited about that. We go over to Luvu, which is Blue, Jonathan, and they're talking about how Nasir wants, them to stick together. It's merged. And another, I think, fail is, what's his name? Deshaun is like, well, I don't know necessarily if we're going to be able to like keep together. Like what? Like
the first few votes.
Go ahead.
The first few votes, he said.
What is he?
It's like, then we'll turn on each other. Like,
yeah, like, it doesn't give anyone kind of any like confidence. Faith that it's like, well, if you think you're on the bottom, and this guy's saying, just at least the first few votes. So I'm like, well, okay, to better your game, but if I'm at the bottom, like that would instantly make me flip. I'd be like, forget you.
Right.
Absolutely. Like Nasir has the best plan, being like, final 6, us, right, guys? Let's make that happen. And then Deshaun's like, well, maybe not like final 6. Like, I don't want to go to final 6 with all of you guys. So maybe a few votes we can stick together. It's like, Deshaun, just say yes to that. Yes. Why are you putting any sort of doubt in these people's minds? It's like, and they've been eating rice at least, or have water. Like they've been winning. So like,
you need to be careful what you say. It's the little things that you just, I would rather be quiet and just very precise with the words that I'm using and what, how they, I mean, you definitely should be saying conversations in your head, not just splurting things out. We're seeing a lot of people just vomit at the mouth. You know what I
It
mean?
must
Like,
be the hunger because like these are big mistakes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm thinking too. I know, Jonathan, that you really enjoy the reward challenges, but I think that us not having them is also taking away from a lot of the bonding that could be happening potentially even with the tribes that are not winning. So like Luvu and Yase, maybe they're wait, no, Yase and Ua, they haven't been winning, but like maybe they would have won a reward challenge because it would have suited their abilities or whatnot. And so they might have won some food or won like a trip together or making more moments together that would allow more trust to be able to develop between them. Like if we saw that, Shan and what's his name, Ricard were like doing a challenge together and they had to work together and balance or whatever, and then they won a reward together that they had to go, I don't know, jellyfish snorkeling and a free meal on the island. Like that would have bonded them and made her trust him more, and maybe, you know what I mean, like it might have changed their dynamic. And so I do think that not having these reward challenges is taking away from people bonding a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that as well as strength in general. The win, like whoever wins reward challenge and gets a meal normally ends up doing pretty well in the immunity challenge. So it does keep people on more of a neutral scale. I think going into the immunity challenge, being like everyone's starving equally.
Except for Lugu, though, they have Flint, right? Or the two tribes, yes. The winning tribes have Flint, so they've been able to at least drink water. So it's like one tribe is really hungry and dehydrated, and the other one's just like, well, they've been winning rewards with their immunity wins, right? So one's the big fish, one's the little fish, one's a big fruit plate, the other's a medium size, tarp. Who cares about the tarp? But anyways, I'm just wishing that we still had a little bit more of the old format, because some of that worked, and we didn't really necessarily see all the reward challenges, but they were still happening, and I do think it was a bonding experience. Kind of like the food challenges on Big Brother, right? Nobody cares about them really, but I think it was very good for people to start bonding and working together and liking each other, because then the stakes get higher for stabbing people in the back because you like these people.
Yeah, and on top of that, you're having like a fun kind of moment that, yes, food is like, I'm talking more Big Brother, but like food is at the the expense of winning it or not or whatever, but it's still lighter, and so you can enjoy doing things that aren't like, the stakes aren't this high when you have two separate rewards and whatnot. Remember those spelling ones? Oh, I love
those. I did. Oh boy. So Whitney says, also, this is not Dune. This is a merge episode. I do not need 2 parts. Absolutely. I haven't seen Dune. Jonathan, have you seen Dune yet?
No, but it's a long one, isn't it?
230
or 234.
Sorry?
It's like it's like 2.5 hours, or almost like.
I think you said 10, and I was like, excuse me.
It's 10.5 hours.
It's a mini-series, yes.
And like I heard that fans are in an uproar because then Zendaya is only in it for 7 minutes, even though she's in the trailer.
Oh,
there was an explanation that the director gave or something. I haven't looked into it. I haven't watched the movie yet. I haven't read the books either. Sorry.
I heard the actual explanation is that if they had read the books, they'd realize that she's not a major part of the story. So yes, it's not Dune. It doesn't need a 2-parter. Like, this is where Jeff comes in and talks to us, to the audience. And already when he's doing this, I was like rolling my eyes. I'm just like, Jeff, I don't trust your creative licensing here right now. Like, don't tell me right now that like, oh my God, they're coming in. Like, they don't even know what's happening. It's not really a merge. It's kind of a merge. And you're not even going to find out what happens at the end of this episode. Let's get back to the guys over here. Like, Jonathan, you loved it.
I was like, what if you need a second take? I'm like, I hope you need a second take, and you have to march them right back out there, and they're going to be so mad.
Well, they might have.
They might have, yeah.
You were a fan of breaking the fourth wall?
No, I don't need to see the cameraman filming you and any of that. I don't need to see that. No. I mean, if it seems seamless and I don't notice it, then I'm fine with it. But And they do that sometimes. Like on the challenge this week, you had TJ being like, "This is our 500th episode," and like, "Thank you," and like, and it didn't bother me, but it's when it just seems so put on that it's those moments that I'm like, no, don't do that. And this episode felt, I would have been fine with this episode overall if it wasn't for the twist that it goes against everything I believe in reality television. So I mean, everything else I could have forgiven, even the no tribal council at the end, I could have forgiven it all. But yeah, so I mean, I don't enjoy that element to it, but whatever.
Jojo, are you like breaking the fourth wall? Do you like having Jeff talk to you?
I don't mind it, but when he goes on and on, I don't care for it. And I didn't like this time. No, in the premiere episode, I didn't mind at all. But
I mean, it
last
was
night
okay.
I was like, I get it. Just tell us, like, you're going to explain another twist that's going to blow our minds and make us look up the Wikipedia rulebook. That pisses me off.
So, the castaways come in and it's drop your buff. So everybody's excited. It's merge, it's merge. He's like, well, it's not exactly. So let's see if I can re-explain what this like groundbreaking twist is. So with this almost merged tribe, or all three tribes are coming together as one and dropping their buffs. They're going to randomly pick rocks to divide into two tribes or two separate groups. So that was blue and yellow, I think it was. And then there'll be two people that choose the gray rock. Now, there'll be a competition with the two teams, so blue and yellow. Whoever wins that will be merged and will receive the merge feast. The people who lose that will also be playing an additional individual immunity. And out of those 5 or 6 people, 6, I guess, 5 people, one person will obviously have immunity, and everybody will be voting one person out of the game from that losing group. Yep. Now, the 2 people that chose the gray rocks will be watching on the sidelines, and the winning team gets to choose out of the 2 of them who can join them and be part of the merge feast and merge with them. And the other person will go to Exile Island for 2 days. Yeah. Did I get everything up until this point correctly?
But he did say safe from the vote. The one tribe. Yes. Or the one team was going to be the winning team.
Yeah, they're immune. Yeah. They're immune. So the winning team is immune. They're merged. They get the merge feast. They get to participate in the vote, but no one in that group is eligible to be voted out.
Yeah. Very clearly stated, safe from the vote. Yeah.
Yes. So when making any of these decisions, they are choosing this as part of their options, right? So this team, the team that ends up winning, so that there's one team that was basically all Luvu. So it was Deshaun. What's your favorite?
Yeah, I was going to say, can we talk about that like unfortunate rock pick division? Because it was like all the weakest players for the most part. I mean, the physicality, we had Tiffany, we had Heather, we had like, you know what I mean? And then all of like the stronger physical people.
The winning team.
It was just, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, when I saw that rock draw, I was like, oh, so yellow team's going to lose. So the yellow team, as you said, was consisting of Tiffany, Heather, Xander, Liana, and Shan. And then the blue team was basically Luvu. So it was Deshaun, Danny, Sydney, Evie, and Ricard. So I'm like, these are very, very unbalanced teams, 100%. Yeah. Like, even if it's just, if we look at, like, there's more men on one team than the other team, like, just that alone is going to be more difficult to be able to get that big ball. There's like that big globe that they had to like dig out and roll that out.
As much as I love that big ball, it was very much like you have to be very physically strong in your upper body, which is, you know, genetically a male trait. And
Yeah.
so I was like, "Ooh, it's really unfair in that respect." I mean, there is like a puzzle at the end, of course, trying to even it out, but there was so much upper body. I mean, everything from putting yourself on the ball to stand up to get the key to every portion of that climb. It was all upper body strength.
Yep.
To running up like the wall and pulling yourself up that wall and getting yourself over. Like, I totally agree. What?
Also, did you like not think that there was a liability with like the ball coming back? Like that was a strong ball and crushing someone. I'm
I
like,
was
how are you doing that?
so worried when Liana was
Death.
under there and she's like, okay, I gotta just go push the ball down. And she's like underneath the ball. I was like, if that ball rolls back, like she
Yeah.
literally will get smushed.
Yeah, I'm like,
Okay.
how is this happening? Like, who okayed this? I'm like, it's taking like 5, 6 people to push it, and it barely, and that can roll back on one individual person. I'm like, you're dead. Like, what? Who? What? I was just, I astonished. I didn't understand that.
Me
I mean, I
neither.
loved it. I was hoping it happened. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It needs to be safe. But I was, am I kidding? I was like, this is like a liability that was just kind of, I didn't see a way out of it. Like, you know, how would they? Is there something in place that would save? Like, I don't know. Nothing.
Well,
It just
even
didn't seem.
when
There weren't like straps on the balls that could be pulled on the side to like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Nothing. Like it was just stand in a ball. I was like, okay.
But even when they were like climbing up on the ball to get the key, or they're using the ball as like part of a ladder to climb up a wall, like I felt it was just like not a sturdy surface that easily could roll over somebody. I was definitely nervous, like you, Jonathan, about like this ball.
Yeah.
Ooh, attack of the
Ooh.
ball. Ooh. So Luvu didn't really, well, I'm calling him Luvu, but Blue Team didn't really have any trouble. I don't even think that they were hustling that hard, and that's probably why the Yellow Team kind of caught up to them in the puzzle part, because like they didn't seem to have that much hustle in them. It was pretty easy for them to do all the stages.
Yeah.
And so the final part was a puzzle that I liked how they set it up. So the answer was merge feast, and they had like the puzzle pieces in letters that you could only push some up and some over, and you kind of had to figure out the configuration with, it was like a word slide puzzle. So I thought that was very easy or interesting. I enjoyed it as like a new element and style of puzzle. But Yellow couldn't figure it out quickly enough, but Blue Team did win this. So this means that Deshawn, Danny, Sydney, Evie, and Ricard have one immunity. They have merged. They are safe from the vote. They get a buff, and they also get to choose what happens with the two people that drew the gray rock. So that was Erica and Nasir, both of which who were on original Luvu. So I thought it was going to be kind of sticky, but we knew that Erica is pretty much on the bottom of that particular tribe. So I had no doubt that Nasir was going to be chosen to join them on the merge feast and be part of the safe group of castaways. So were you guys surprised, Jojo?
I wasn't surprised, but I feel like if I was in control of the Blue Tribe, I absolutely, and wanted to target Erica, I absolutely would not have sent her away for 2 days.
Yeah.
I would have sent someone that I trusted and been like, okay, they're probably going to tell me what's out there. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, it even talks about it afterwards that there's the potential of, like Sydney brought it up, that's potential of an advantage or something. So, I mean,
I'd want to know what it was. And if I trusted Nasir over Erica, I'd probably send him.
See,
and he's also very like,
Nasir had just kind of came into the fold last week, where they were sharing information with him. And so I think that it was more of giving him the meal, you know what I mean? Right. And allowing him to be part of that, because regardless of knowing that Nasir is able to make fire and you'd be able to do a lot better than Erica over there, it would still feel, I think, like he has been cast away and he's not part of the Luvu. And like, I feel that Nasir, and he has that idol, I think that they also didn't want to necessarily piss Nasir off. And they valued him a little bit more, like keeping him happy.
They value men a little bit more.
That's true too.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, right? They were worried about, or Danny was worried about getting rid of like the men and his whole kind of thing.
And
just one. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Do you remember at the in preseason, Evie, one of her pet peeves, it just said men. So the fact that that's her pet peeve is just men.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Danny is the one that brought it up to them made me laugh. It was like, oh, you have no idea like who this person
No, that's
is.
not what's happening. That's not how
That's exactly what's happening.
Just to note, kind of off topic a little bit, just back to the slide puzzle thing. I thought it was a misstep not to, like, I'm surprised you didn't mention anything, Chantele, because you like playing along and we were like upside down behind it, couldn't really see the board all that well.
Yeah.
And I was like, why aren't they giving us a different angle on these? Like, have them sideways or something, like, and then you could still have the cameras in the same spot, but have the board sideways so that we can play along or see it a little bit better.
Yep.
And know what moves they need to make. I just thought it was a weird, like, upside down, like we're not seeing what was happening, we're just seeing them and there's a lot of fast cuts too, so anyway.
I definitely, like, usually that would annoy me, but I was still able for myself to be able to flip it around in my head. So like I was still following along, even though it was upside down. I was still like, okay, you have to do that. Like I was still doing it. So but I think it's just because I am capable of having spatial awareness, like, you know what I mean? Like I can do those block puzzle stuff.
It was still doable for sure. And you could see like, oh, now he's moving this, but it wasn't like pleasant to the eye to see. And it wasn't, I mean, if they're dumbing down the game within a game for like little kids to play, I'm like, little kids aren't going upside down puzzles like that, figuring the stuff out. So, I mean, it was harder to do. And I don't know. I just thought it was a weird kind of decision or oversight that they had.
To kind of piggyback on what you're saying, what I would have loved even more is if they showed us what it looked like in the beginning. So like have maybe a freeze frame of like the beginning of the puzzle. And so like I could freeze my TV and be like, okay, so what would I do? Like, and like draw it out for myself. So yeah, I totally agree that it's a little bit of a misstep that they didn't make it clear for us to play along, since they're encouraging playing along with this season.
Especially because like I think like, who was it? Was it Tiffany or Heather? I think it was Tiffany. When she came up there, she like knew it right away. She was like, merge these. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't see the game within the game this episode, though.
Me either. No? I don't think
it in part 2.
Probably.
So stupid. Sorry, guys. Like, I love games within the game type thing, but these are just too easy. And like, where's the consistency? Like, if they're going to be at the challenge, be at the challenge. If they're going to be different places all the time, be at different places all the time. But like, have some consistency, at least one in every episode, unless we missed it.
Yeah,
I don't think I missed it. I've been really good with like not being on my phone while I watch the episode, so I can like keep an eye out for it. And it could only be in certain parts where it's because it's a live. It's not something they put on the screen. Like, you know what, Ellen DeGeneres puts that little penny on the anyway for her game shows, but it's something that's physically there, so you know it can't be on the beach. Like it has to be on, or at camp. It has to be on at a challenge or something that they're not living at and would see themselves.
Yep. Can you imagine if they actually saw it? They're like, what does this mean? Oh God, they're trying to game it. It's just for kids.
Learning curve. Ah!
So yeah, it has to be at like tribal, or it has to be at the it's really only in like a couple places, or else it can't be there.
So we can't really tell at this point if this decision of theirs was beneficial or not beneficial, but Nasir gets to join this blue team for the merge feast, get the buff. They're all eating and kind of trading stories and talking, getting to know each other. This is where he puts his foot in his mouth. Like, I don't know why you would be saying out loud to anybody about you thinking that they might be getting the men out. Like, even if it's true, it's just not something that you say, because the women who are identifying as women still have the power. They still have the numbers. And so I would be wanting to get out you, Danny, because it's like, oh, he figured this out. Let's get rid of him before he causes some trouble.
He's going to want to target one out of the blank of us.
Yes.
And there are 4 other men here who are perfectly safe in his eyes. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks.
Yeah. I feel like everyone was doing that, though. Everyone was spilling so much information. I'm like, why are you saying, like, Sydney was doing the same thing. I'm like, why are you just willy-nilly telling everyone all your business? I'm like, stop it. I'm like, if you're saying something, get something in return. Have an exchange. You know what I mean? Not just being like, oh yeah, let me tell you, because it doesn't make it sound like you, especially when you're speaking in groups, it doesn't make it like you sound like you're bonding with that person. You trust that person. Sydney said it when she was with 2 others. He said it at a feast with a bunch of people. Those are moments where it comes across. And we heard people say this earlier when they were talking about, who was it at the beach, Nasir, and Sydney had brought it up in front of everyone. Remember, Chantele, you were talking about how saying it in front of everybody, this was a different day we talked about this, but saying it in front of everyone doesn't make you feel like it's like a bonding moment. It just feels like you're just talking whatever. And gossiping or whatever the case may be. So you have to be really careful and use it as a moment one-on-one, not in groups where it's just like you're saying stuff to say stuff. You know, you don't need to be the cool kid in class. So stop it. You're like,
well, and like, was it an empty, like a subtle threat? Like, what did he intend to how that to be received? Like, if someone said that to me, I'd just be like, no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
your tribe started to take out all the men. It's like, well, to be fair, actually, there's still a man on our tribe, so
and you have
we're taking out
no
all
idea
them.
what happened on our tribe.
No, that's a lot of assumptions. Also, at this point, there was also a Sydney confessional where she had like full-on scab on her face, like a cut, and on top of her head. So I don't know if she hit her face or if something hit her, but that's something to look out for.
I didn't notice, actually.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, if she's not bloody at tribal council, then she's fine from here on out until that happens, in my opinion.
Oh, so you think they went back and used that moment?
Yeah.
And it's scab, so that's like a good, you know.
Oh, I shouldn't say scab. It might have been fresh, but it was like she had been
like road rash, kind of.
Yeah, something hit her in the face for sure. Maybe it was Heather. They hate each other.
It was that ball.
No, I don't even think it was the ball because it wasn't in group setting. She was fine. It was just confessional. So it might have been the next day, whenever
they did the confessionals.
Yeah.
I did write down a few phrases that our lovely Jeff was saying during the challenge. So when they're digging out the spear, God. He's like, one of my favorite phrases, you've got to dig deep.
Screaming in a person's face.
So cheesy. Amazing teamwork.
One of the and then something about this could have been that was the best showing the show's ever seen. Like, because Heather got up a ball.
Heather got her leg onto the ledge.
That's the best, most. Yeah, I'm like, you need to like stop. You need to stop because you can't tell. But that was a lot of the episode was filled with like them telling us things and like trying to for us to accept it as facts. And I'm like, you need to just stop that narrative, stop the editing, stop with that kind of stuff. No one likes being told like that.
It's so overproduced now, and I feel like he's micromanaging how I'm supposed to enjoy Survivor.
Yeah,
and it's not the way that I like Survivor. He's really deciding what it is that makes this show great, and he actually doesn't have any idea of what I enjoy. Yes, I love the moments where people are overcoming things. Absolutely. Yes, I love seeing, teams come together and get over that wall. Of course. Yes, I love the blind side. Yes, I do. I love all these things, but I don't like it when someone makes it happen because it's not interesting when it's something organic.
I mean, even if he just changed his dialogue a little bit and said like, arguably one of the biggest, and you're like, okay, he's just kind of like,
arguably.
If he just said like,
allegedly.
If he said allegedly, this could have been like something a little different, but it was very like, I'm telling you, and I even took that as like, ooh, okay.
It was just like, Dad, like, no. Like, so dad. And also, I didn't mention before, Danny, when Jeff asks, so how'd you come to the decision of who you're going to take on to the merge feast? And they're like, rock, paper, scissors, even though you didn't even see them do rock, paper, scissors. I was like, that's also a misstep, Danny. Like, just don't say anything then. Like, you don't have to respond.
Don't say anything. If it's a negative effect, Don't say anything. Let someone else say it.
And I think he said paper, rock, scissors.
He did.
And Jeff corrected him. He was like, rock, paper, scissors.
I wrote down rock, paper, scissors. Oh my gosh. So I didn't notice.
He did say it. And then in his like confessional interview thing, he said the same thing.
That's just
paper, rock, scissors. Who says that? Danny.
Paper, rock, scissors.
It's rock, paper, scissors. Hundo.
I mean, it could be one of those Stella, Ella, Ola, quack, quack, quacks. It differs depending on where you are regionally. So I mean, who knows?
Hold on, let me think of maybe like logistically if it makes sense. So rock, and then paper covers rock, and then scissors cuts paper. So that just makes the chain work well. But if it's paper, paper covers rock, rock breaks scissors. I guess it works both ways. Kinda.
No, I think it actually has to be paper, rock, paper, scissors. Because if it was paper, rock, scissors, well, that's all level playing field. I don't. Maybe it does. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
I'm gonna have to Google this after and see if there's an explanation as to why people would say it the other way, other than just not knowing the truth, or maybe it's a Mandela effect.
Sure.
So, did anything else happen at the merge feast? No, not really. I'm just like putting their foot in their mouths, which I was just very shocked by. We go over to Exile Island. I thought that Erica was so cute with how she's like talking about it like it's her resort, and we're gonna give this a 5-star Yelp review or whatever it is, and like kind of explaining it in a way that I thought that she was taking it very well. Making the rice and all that stuff, making fire. I thought it was great for her. And I think even no matter if she wins or not, I think that her going to exile will be great for her survivor longevity, like she's the person that went to exile on this season 41. So I like that. Any thoughts about originally just seeing her here on Exile Island?
I'm just curious about her edit. I was like, what's her edit going to be like? Like, how long is she going? Like, is she making it to the end? Like, what's happening here? Like, is this what's happening? I'm like, or is this the extent of her moment? Because they made her seem like really kind of weak and kind of just in a bad position. And then all of a sudden it's like, we're giving you power. So is this the conclusion? Is it leading up to this and then it whittles off and it's whatever? Or is this just part of a bigger story that really like snowballs or something to the end? So I wonder. It makes me really curious as to how well she fares in this game.
Yeah, there's still a ton of game left, and as unpopular as this opinion is, I don't think we've seen the last of Heather. That's another person that we have not seen. That we've seen very little of.
Heather, babe. Ride for Heather, please.
I'm riding for Heather. But we don't know, because I'm going to assume right now that Erica and Heather are at the bottom of that 5. And out of that 6. And if the other 4 start to get into any trouble, that bodes well for Erica and Heather. And they can we'll see. I don't know. Well, obviously, but none of us know.
I'm kind of feeling personally that Erica, this might be, the heightened episode for her. She does get to have the title of the episode named after her little quote here. She says, I'm still going to go back to the game looking like a lamb, but I'm ready to play like a lion. So she gets that moment. She gets that title, but I just don't know if she's going to be able to use it to her advantage. I think that there's other people that are playing harder than her that are in better positions than she is. And we'll talk more about how we think that she's going to fare in a second. So we go to the losing group, and my girl Shan like completely puts her entire leg in her mouth when she decides to openly talk about Liana's advantage in front of Tiffany, who she's just meeting for the first time. What on earth was going on through her mind? And like, is it just the lack of food? Because this is nonsensical in any capacity. It's not your advantage. Keep your mouth shut.
And there was no follow-up to, like, there was no, like, side little interview thing with her being like, "Ooh, I shouldn't have said that," or anything like that. It was just kinda not from her perspective anyway, but I was just like, "What are you doing?" Which was very consistent with the beginning of the episode and, like, this whole thing. I'm like, "What? You are throwing potentially your whole game away." I mean, I don't think it is. I think she'll, forgive her and
I
blah,
think
blah,
she
blah,
threw
whatever.
Liana's game away though.
But I'm like, yeah, and you can use her too. So I'm like, you're ruining things for yourself. You're going downhill fast. I mean, I still think she's in a great position in the game. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just like, you could literally be top of this whole thing if you just maintained what you have established for yourself. But I mean, it's going fast. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Is that sign company with like disappointment?
Yes, I'm assuming that I'm going to make a couple of assumptions here. I'm assuming that I'm assuming the girls spoke about being aligned with Tiff, that they got along well.
Well, they would have showed us this though. I
They
think
probably
like,
would have shown
doing
us.
all these things, right? Like it just looks like it's a terrible move.
Here's the thing, the edit is so I recently watched, not to get too far off of topic, but it goes to this. I watched a TikTok, you know me, with Kelly Wentworth, and she was showing an original clip of herself that was unaired. It was the original footage, and it was an interview thing, and then what had actually aired, and it was so far off. They took bits and pieces as one does. And I knew, like, listen, if you're talking about like Hell's Kitchen or, all these other shows, they're so heavily produced like that. Hell's Kitchen, I've seen eliminated contestants in the background in like future episodes because they want to piece a narrative together. You know what I mean? And justify why someone's going home because they did so bad. Meanwhile, that mistake was like 3 weeks ago. But and it was so, I forget the topic, but she was like talking about like 5 people, and then it showed her talking about like one castaway, and then another voiceover taken from something else completely that she never said. It was crazy, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that Survivor was that heavily edited, cut, chopped up, and pieced together to make the story whatever they want it to be. So I don't know if they would show us. I don't know. Like, they tell us the story that they want to be told. So I mean,
Fine, but point being, we do hear Liana say, "I don't know why Shan would say that." So that to me doesn't seem like it was the perfect time to share all the information. And we also learned that, so Liana then, like, she's like, oh, okay, I guess I have to tell Shan exactly what this thing does. So she tells Shan, and then she's like, oh, I guess I have to go tell Tiffany like what this thing does. And Tiffany completely doesn't trust her anymore because she kept this information away from her. And if, like, Liana said something to Tiffany or to Shan, being like, yes, Tiffany, we're all in alignment, but I haven't said anything about this advantage yet. So that's just between me and you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that would make any sense. So sorry, I'm just like kind of heated, but
no, I agree. And it's like so ridiculous.
I personally think I'm going to make a prediction. I think Tiffany's going to make a move out of this.
Absolutely.
I think she's going to tell Xander or Nasir, like, give me your idol. I will protect it for you. We will take out this. I feel as if it's going to be a move for Tiffany.
Yeah.
I think that's what the edit was telling us.
Well, because Tiffany was pissed that like I think that she thinks she has Liana right underneath her thumb, and Liana kept this from her. I don't know why Liana needed to tell the truth here. Like, if it were me and everybody's expecting it just to be an extra vote, just be like, yeah, I got an extra vote as well, and like nothing that exciting. Who cares? And either tell Shan or not tell Shan, but like keep that information safe. And you could say that to Tiffany, just be like, oh my god, it was just an extra vote. I didn't really think it was that important. Like,
but if you're caught in the lie again, it's like it makes it
worse,
unrecoverable. You know what I mean? And you don't know.
Vote out Tiffany.
If Shan's like this, like flying off of the mouth with just this information, you don't know if that's going to come up again. You don't know who Shan's told outside of that. I mean, if other people come back from the reward or whatever, and they're like saying the same kind of thing, you're like, oh my god, you know what I mean? But with more details. So I was like, okay, fess up, absolutely. That's something I've done. But
get off the Xander train. Get off the Xander train. Get off. Like, keep your four Yase strong and like play the game together. Like, you. Anyways, this is just her youth, I think. It's like doesn't really get how to play. Like, remember, she was so upset because she didn't get Xander out, and like he's the person that she has to get out of this game in order for her to win, apparently. But even if that's the case, you gotta pick and choose when you share that information with somebody else. They have to be on that same page with you. You saw how much Tiffany went to bat to keep Xander in that game.
Yeah.
Like, you have to kind of assume that she wants Xander in that game, the game for now. And then it's also a numbers game when you get to merge. So keeping your numbers strong is also very important. So looking like someone, now you've lied to somebody that's part of your original tribe. And now you want to target someone from within your tribe with an advantage that you didn't tell me about. She would just look so tasty to like get rid of because she is not a trustworthy, loyal friend, loyal alliance member,
Yeah.
So Liana dropped the ball here. I think Liana and Shan, like, wow, it's terrible, terrible, terrible. Hi, Jelly Donut. So Jelly Donut says, I'm a longtime Survivor fan, been watching since the beginning. Survivor doesn't need twists to stay relevant. Production is relying on twists and not people's stories like they should be. I totally agree. I feel as though, I think I've made this comparison before, but I was talking about it when I was doing the Bachelor and Bachelorette recap. And on the Housewives, you guys probably both remember when the Real Housewives of New Jersey, the table flip moment, right? The table,
I know of it,
so angry, and flip the table in the restaurant. And it was captivating, riveting, shocking, like real, visceral, like it was a moment. And from that point forward, the Housewives franchise have always been like, let's try to get fights happening. We want fights to happen. It's like, no. It's not the fights that made these riveting moments. It was the dynamic between these two people, what they were talking about, the real frustration that developed in the moment, and an honest reaction to the situation. It wasn't something that was contrived.
Well, you could have such a big thing with just words, even if it's truthful and honest, and like, there's breath given to that moment to like let it happen. And I agree with you. Like, there's not a lot of breath in these episodes. They don't let anything sit, or just you see it, things play out, and just more of a scramble. It's all like there's so much happening that they need to like slow it down a little bit. I don't know I've heard of a table flip, but I don't watch the show. But I've heard of a leg being thrown too, like a fake leg.
I can't remember when that happened, but there has been a fake leg that's been thrown. So now everybody gets a fake leg in their grab bag. But yeah, just to reiterate my point here, though, it's like with these idols, they want to have these moments where like Kelly Wentworth doesn't count, and that guy gets voted out. Like, shocking. Like, they want those moments because they are riveting, but they happened organically because people were playing the game and they're playing their relationship and they were knowing what was going on. They're following it. It wasn't just booby traps and like, steal your idol and idol nullifier. Like, okay, like, no, the good moments happened organically. So get your hands off of it, Survivor.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm all for like them creating new little elements or just like different things like that, like new twists. Not this one that happened this episode, let me tell you.
We're getting to it. We're building up our hate for this one. Xander and Liana were speculated to be in a showmance. Well, it's safe to say that that's not true. Well, maybe it is true, and that's why she's so like anti-Xander, because maybe he ghosted her, Ghost Island her.
Oh.
Or maybe they figured things out after the fact.
Yeah.
Jelly Donut, tell me more. This cast is top tier. Absolutely. Production ruined something that didn't need to be fixed. I blame Probst. I agree. I do agree. I think that he wanted to come back with a bang, just for not being on the air for 2 years and then wanting the opportunity to do something different. For instance, Jeff was actually really hurt and upset when he found out that all the winners hated the whatchamacallit, the tokens,
Fire tokens.
the fire tokens, that they hated that twist, and he thought that they would love it. And like the fact that when they hated the twist, he was like, "What? I thought it would be like so amazing." Like he doesn't seem to know actually what the players want in the game or the viewers. It's kind of what he wants as a producer, which is very different because as somebody that myself have produced before, it is really fun to see how people react to the crap that you throw at them. Absolutely, yeah. It's interesting. But as a player and as a fan watching, it it's not fun. It's not as good. But definitely as a producer, I can understand if wanting to see how these twists play out is entertaining for them. But not for cast and not for viewers, in my opinion. All right. So anything else happened there? Okay, so the feast winners, they all go back to camp and everybody was super welcoming and hey, lovey, which was fine. Because they shared that moment with goats on AstroTurf and butterflies signaling your dead relatives. Nasir and Xander were able to say, like, I got you, I got your back, bro, I got your back, bro. I think this is good for both of them, especially because Liana's coming with her, like, idol stealer. So, yes, it's great that they have each other's back. Hopefully some of this information can get back to one of them and so they can, like, protect it, save it, something, give it to somebody. I don't know. Can you do that? Can you give your idol to someone to hold and then so you don't actually have it when somebody asks you for it? Like, I'm wondering.
I'm assuming so, yeah.
I'm wondering what's.
I think you'd probably have to gift it to them, and like they can't steal it, obviously, but it's like I don't think they can just like hold it. And if I don't like all that stuff, I think you have to. If it's on you and it's given to you, it's yours in that moment.
Yeah.
So you could essentially then right before tribal, like, hey, can you hold this before every tribal? Can you hold this until Liana says it?
Like, I'll give this to you. You give it back to me. But it's like it is.
Don't give it to Shan. So Jelly Donut says this boulder challenge was a throwback Thursday. When was the last time we had a boulder? Africa season 3.
Oh, we had a boulder when one of the men's underwear fell down. I think it was season 7.
When they were coming down that hill.
And then like a bunch of the male tribe mates dropped their pants because they're like, we should solidarity. Here's all of our penises.
I don't remember that.
7. You don't remember that?
Was I too young? Did I block it out of my mind?
Penis slipped through the underwear.
What?
The what?
I don't remember this.
Yeah, and they had like a boulder, and it was like running down. Yeah,
there was a boulder time too.
I could be making up the memory. I kind of remember it, but I don't know.
I was like, I don't know how heavy that boulder was, but I felt like then too, I was like, it's a little dangerous. I like danger, but I was just curious as to, I like the boulder, and I like that it felt different. I've been asking for weeks now, like I want it to feel different. Yeah. I mean, it was still kind of the same, but at the same time, I was like, oh, a different element to it. I enjoy that. So.
Yeah.
So Sydney tells Evie and Tiffany that like this is where you guys were mentioning before that like we're doing Erica, let's just do Erica. It's like never be the people throwing out the plans because you don't know who's going to actually vibe together or whatnot. You don't know what's happening with Erica over on Exile Island. You don't just like
let it come to you. Let them try to think that they are convincing you. And, throw out like little seeds of like, well, we all get along. We're all great. I don't really speak to like Erica a lot, but we all love each other and blah, blah, blah. And then see if they pick up on that little element and try to use it against you later. I mean, use it for you later on in a conversation, perhaps, or something. Don't get like, they're all like, I don't know what was up with. I mean, lack of hunger, lack of sleep is what I'm going to say. But they're all acting a fool.
And it's also like been pretty fast paced. So it's day 12.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Word vomit.
They don't have any breath in their game, so they're not being able to like think really straight at all. So we see Jeff show up to Exile, and I'm already ready to eye roll. I'm sorry, Jeff. I do appreciate your passion for the game. I do appreciate that you love some of the elements that you really hammer home. But he goes and he's like, so how does it feel like that your ex team like sent you over here and get her to have that moment where she's kind of feeling upset and like, she knew that she was going to be the one that was sent there and that she's kind of on the bottom of that tribe. She understood that. But then he takes out an hourglass. You could turn back time. And I was like, at the beginning of the game? Like, okay, that's fun. And then would you have like, 6, like that would be kind of cool. Like if they did some sort of rewind in that capacity. I'm not sure how they would do it, but I was interested. But then he's like, no, basically you just get to reverse the results of the competition. So Jonathan, I know you're up in arms. What do you think about the fact that an hourglass turning back time does not, to me, equate to doing the exact opposite results of a challenge.
Yeah.
And this twist.
It's like, no. Part of the foundation of what Survivor is, I don't care if you're forgetting the first 40 seasons, I don't care if this is a new Survivor, I don't care, is that when you win something, it is yours. It's not taken away from you because of someone else's. And it's not like she like was, just I did some miracle fantastical win on some island where she solved the mystery of life and was given this turn back of time. It was literally just a gift. And by the way, we don't need to be so literal with a hourglass. Like, have some story, like a
watch.
Like just have like a more mystical or original story. If you're going to use the word tribe in Survivor and it's, then maybe go back to the origins of the people who are there. And maybe there's something that
you lore
relate to anything like that. Like if you're going to be in that element, not exploit it, but, like really celebrate it and bring a lot of knowledge to your viewers. Anyway, but it's, so I was like, that's lazy. But then on top of that, just to be given something like this, just because you were put in a situation, garbage. I'm like, they won safety. They should have safety. That's what you win is safe. Not it's stripped away from you because of garbage.
Absolutely. And I don't even know if I like this, but let me say it out loud to both of you. Like maybe if Nasir and Erica, they played some sort of competition and being like, they're the two people that whatever, and like know a little bit more. Like one of you will get to join the merge feast and one of you may get the power to change the results in this game or something like that. Like
or safety or something. Like, I mean, absolutely. You can win a new sort of power if this happens, but not stripping it away from these people who competed in an event and won it.
Yeah.
No.
Jojo, do you want to go on a little mini rant? We can keep going for like an hour.
We truly could. I will admit I don't hate the twist, only because I think the one person that it would have benefited the most to have this twist is the person on that island. The person that knows they're at the bottom.
Totally.
But what I would have loved to see is if there was a rewind in time, it was you're going to go back to that beach.
We're going to pick thing again.
We're going to pick rocks again. It's going to be two new teams, same thing.
Yes.
That I would have been like, okay, I'm cool with that. That's not that it's fair, but that is turning back time to restart what can happen.
But you're giving everyone a chance again.
Yeah, and even offer that person immunity for this one round. I think because of who it is, Erica is definitely going to the hammer. The hammer.
You gotta smash this.
There's going to be glass everywhere on that beach.
But I also think I don't know that it's in her best interest because I'm like, you are pissing off everyone that you have an established relationship, whether you're on the bottom or not. You're nothing to everyone else right now, and you're something to them. You're one of 5 or 6 or whatever, but you are nothing to everybody else. So, I mean, I'd rather be 1 on someone's scale than 0. And not that you can't make your way, but you can still make your way the other way too. So if you showed your loyalty and like, this is what was given to me, I protected all of us, they might think about you another way because people are always worried about people who will flip. And you would, I think, win over some people as well. And I don't know you'd be the first person going. I mean, they were saying her name because it would be easy, and they were saying her name because they didn't know what power she had. But if it was came back and it was exposed and she's like, look, I didn't use it. This is not what I did. You wouldn't be pissing anyone off because the people who weren't on your original tribes, they would be like, okay, yeah. But it'd just be everyone else. So I don't think it's a good idea.
I think she's 100% going to use it. And especially from how Jeff comes over, okay? The producer of this show, the host of this show, it's his probably brainchild of this twist. And he comes over and he asks you to go to those feeling. How did it feel when they didn't choose you to go on that merch feast? Well, you know what? You can take that all away from them and you get to be safe now. And she'll be like, of course I have to take that. Yeah. Like the producer just asked me to basically to follow through with his, idea here. And I think she's 100% going to use it. I think it's actually terrible for her game. Everything that you've said, Jonathan, because yeah, it sucks that she's at the bottom of her tribe, but it is better for her to stick with the people that she knows than people that would just discard her no matter what and be like, oh, well, I don't really know her, but thanks for saving us this week. But now those people don't like her. So let her old tribe just take her out and we'll just go along with that vote. It really will just save her for a week. And I don't think that she'll be voted out if she doesn't take out. So it doesn't really matter. Go ahead.
I do disagree with that only because looking at the other 5 people that are non-immune right now, there is Xander, who's a male, who's probably not going to be targeted, which would have been a great time to try and take him out if he doesn't win the individual immunity. There's Heather, there's Liana and Shan, and Tiffany. I don't know if Danny, Deshawn, they're going to want to take someone else out over Erica. I really don't. If I was Erica, I would feel like this is you guys sent me here. This is my revenge. This is my villain era. Oh, 100%. I don't think it's a bad move for her.
I think that there's no, she has to do it 100%. Yeah. But I think that it's a bad move for her because I do feel that it makes them being like, oh, good. I'm glad that we were going to be targeting her before because we know that she's not loyal. We know that she's ready to turn on us. They know now, they're confirmed now that she was somebody that they should be taking out. They're going to be like, oh, I wish we had thrown that challenge so we could have gotten her out before. And so I don't think that one of them is going to go because, they have 5 Lubu that would most likely be voting together. So they're only really going to need maybe 1 or 2 people to be able to sway the vote however they want. And I think that either the 3 people I think that are going to be out is either Sydney. They might be able to get the votes for Sydney. Yeah. Evie, maybe not just because Evie and Deshawn have a little bit of a bond, or Ricard, but I don't think Ricard is because I think the men are going to try to keep all the men safe. Yeah. But those are the people I think that are in the most danger.
I think Sydney's in a lot of trouble because that's who Erica was targeting before. And if she saves everyone and she looks to Sydney and she's like, or if they look to Erica and they're like, who do you want gone? Thanks for saving us. She can be like, Sydney.
And then Tiffany will be like, yes, I agree. We had to do that, whatever, Shipwreck Island thing. And so Sydney's in dangerous waters for sure.
And
but
Heather.
I do. Heather?
Heather.
Heather.
Sydney's my master plan.
Having these dreams. But also, I'm going to be looking for that face injury. If that happens in the next episode, I'll be like, oh my God, I'm losing another draft member. But it's who knows? Who knows? I mean, is it exciting? If it was a 2-hour episode,
I would have been in the momentum of it.
Yeah. But I don't need to wait a week.
No, because I've already played out the scenarios, and now it's just okay, so which one is going to actually play out, right? Yeah. And I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be good for her in the long run. It might be exciting, maybe. I can see where you're coming from, Jojo, thinking that she might be able to rally the women and Xander on that side to take out Sydney. I think it's a huge, high possibility, absolutely. But I think that because Deshawn and Danny, they are strong and they have been winning immunity. We know that Deshawn has an extra vote. You know what I mean? I just feel like having so many people mad at you, it's just not great to always have some people being against you.
But who would be mad? If Sydney goes home, she would have Danny mad, Deshawn mad. I don't think
It's
she
not
has
about
Heather
Sydney
mad.
going home. I think it's about taking away their immunities that
Yeah.
I would be pissed.
But
I
she's
think this year
immune
would
herself. So it's like, what's the selfish move? I bet a lot of people would be like, I would have done the same thing if it means that I was safe.
Yeah, but you're still gonna hold on to that kind of.
It's like you made a selfish move, but I don't care about you anymore for sure.
Because it's not like a decision where it's like, okay, this is what you do. They either win or they either win. And she makes the choice and pisses some people off. It's taking something away that they already have from someone. That's a gut punch, and so that would tick people off, especially when the emotions are running high for many other reasons too. So,
and also though, if like loose lips and they've been talking about how Erica's been kind of shady, like people might not want to trust her. Like they might use her for this vote, right? Like so she flips over. But Tiffany seems to really not like when people aren't trustworthy. And so I could totally see her and be like, yeah, let's get out Sydney, sure. But like I still don't trust you necessarily, Erica. It doesn't build trust with everybody. It shows that you are disloyal, you're willing to flip, like you're not going to stand by your team. Look at how quickly Tiffany is pissed off at Liana for not sticking with her team with the Xander vote or wanting to vote out Xander. Like I just don't think she looks good, even though I understand self-preservation, like on the bottom of the tribe, making the best move for herself in that particular moment, get it. But I think longevity-wise, it takes her out of people wanting to work with her. And she doesn't know half of these people at all. I would try to be mending fences with the people that I do know, kind of like what you were saying, Jonathan.
And I just think like overall in any of these games, and whether you play them online or they really play out in real life, the people who make it to the end usually are the ones that don't need all of the gimmicks. They have such a strong social. They use it as it complements their game, winning certain things. But they have such a strong social game that it carries them to the end. And this would just be damaging that for her so bad that I'm like, for me, it would just take her out of the running to win. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think she can win. I think people would be so pissed, like regardless of how it fares out in the end. Like I just don't think it's a good move for her. I mean, I know why she's doing it. I get it, but like I don't like that she's in this position. It's great that she's going to be safe for this week. Cool. But like it sucks that this production push thing and like she's going to feel heavy, that all producers want to have their twists be played out. They want them to be used. Like that's why they introduce them. They hate when their twists don't actually work. And so she's going to have that pressure as well as being like, oh my God, like they keep on, what do they say? They're like, this is the first time this has ever happened. Like it's a groundbreaking new twist. Like, you know what I mean? They're putting all this vocabulary into her mindset of like, being this game changer. And like it's the worst twist I've ever actually seen in my life. I hate this type of turn back of time. Like, you know what I mean? I don't like idol nullifyers. I don't like taking away something that somebody found. That's why I don't particularly like Liana's advantage, because it's like she didn't do really anything other than like, okay, risk my vote. And now she gets to steal something that he hasn't had a vote for the whole game. And now he finally has a vote, and you can just go to tribal and take away his vote and vote him out. It's just like
the only reason I don't. I mean, I don't enjoy that. But the only reason I don't mind it as much is because like you would have had to have told people that you have an idol or something. I know it's kind of like group known because of the other two tribes, and now they're all merged or unmerged, whatever. But so they would have known it anyway. But I feel like this is just beyond that even, and it's too much. It's just too much.
I could get behind the ask for the idol advantage if they didn't have to disclose that they had an idol. You know what I mean? If they were able to keep that a secret, and then like, you kind of have to like, well, I think he might have one. I don't know. Do you think he found and have to be like taking that risk? Like maybe he's only an advantage. Should I ask him for an advantage? Like, no, she knows definitively 3 people that definitely have an idol. and she went through obviously Xander's bag and knows that he also has an advantage. So there's these facts that she knows with this new information that I just think it's just underwhelming because she doesn't do anything to figure out that he has this, you know?
Like, I feel like there should be, you know, there's test audiences for pilots and whatnot. Like, I feel like Survivor should be like, how about if this group, you know what I mean, like had this play out or whatever, like they should like give a ton of money. They should
I would love that. We should
they should
suggest
have
this.
test audiences where they, you know, sworn to secrecy, you sign your NDA, whatever, and you have those elements because like we would have all agreed to this twist if they were like, nope, you can restart the competition and pick new teams, you know, at the thing. We would have.
That's what I thought was going to
been
happen.
on board for that.
Yeah.
More or less.
I was like, that sucks, but like, and they already got to eat, so that's probably pretty good for them. So
like you're safe, but you're like going to mess up everyone else's game potentially. We have to start all over. I mean, we're all on board for that. We would have been sitting in that little, you know, test audience being like, yep, love it, love it, love it. Turn that little dial up. I don't know if they actually have dial. Turn it up to super happy. And and so, you know, whatever.
So Jelly Donut says, I will say I low-key like Journey Island where the members of the other tribe can bond, but the whole pirate's dilemma with 100 rules in between is not okay. Just bring back old school Exile Island. I mean, I don't even love Exile Island, but I just love like the basicness of like everything else. It's just too complicated and it's not worth it, I don't think. It's not worth it for all the rules. When Jeff said turn back time, I started singing Stressed Out.
If I could turn back time.
Is that what it's called? Stressed Out, though? Or she was actually singing while stressed out?
While stressed out.
I would assume.
I was thinking turn back the time, you know, Cher.
Yeah. Sure.
The amount of backlash Survivor is going to get if Erica declines it. She won't. There's no way.
No.
But she has to realize that it's going to be bad for her game. Either way, it's bad for her game. Her game's in the toilet. Tommy is one of my favorite winners because he didn't use any trinkets. I'm okay with Tommy, but I think that was a Lauren season. She should have been the winner, and I think that she really was the one that was the mastermind behind everything, and he got to get all the glory for it. So I liked him working with Lauren, but I wish that she was the winner instead of going out when she went in fourth because she couldn't make fire. Was it?
Heads.
I've dated a really cute redhead before.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a model.
Model.
Hi, Sean. So Sean says, I think right now she has to think of the short term, walking back into camp where an ideal vote for her is 6-6 vote, assuming nobody flips on her when she's 6-6 on Luvu would not be a good idea. Wait, what does that mean? Hold on. Walking back into camp where an ideal vote for her is a 6-6 vote, assuming nobody flips. Who would they be targeting though?
On the bottom, like they're saying if like all of her original tribe members stuck with her, then it'd be the 6 of them voting for someone else on one of the other 2 tribes. And what the other 2 tribes got together, they would be voting 6 on Erica, hoping that someone flips.
Yep.
So if that's what I'm saying. If she didn't use it, it would be 6-6 at best. And they'd probably be like, you know, Sydney was already talking about flipping. I mean, several people.
If she didn't use it though, she could have also like maybe she's gonna win the immunity.
Well, yeah, if she didn't use it, she can also still flip if she wants to. She'd be like, sorry, I didn't save you, but like maybe we should still. It's still you still reserve the rights to make a move within this round still, you know?
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, she wouldn't have the people to play. Like, so the people that they would have to put the moves on would have been the Heather, Tiffany, Dan, Liana, and
Heather is part of her original tribe. So, I mean, like, there is that one option if you want to get rid of someone on your original tribe.
She wouldn't do Heather, though, I don't think.
I mean, I don't know why, but I'm just saying to, like, get down the numbers if you wanted to. Or who knows what. I mean, she could... I still think finagle something. She can like really work something out there. I mean, I
think it would be more beneficial for her because I'm sure that as a tribe they've spoken as to the other tribes who they would want to see go, and so like if she was really playing hard, I know she's on the bottom, so it kind of she'd be coming at it a little bit differently. But I think that I would be like, okay, I'm going to hope that I can curry some favor with 6 people that I'm going to take a risk and go and potentially be voted off, but go and save those 6 people and then do my, maybe win or maybe not win immunity and hope that those 6 people that I just saved plus me would be able to vote out one of the other 5 people that are on the original losing tribe. So I just don't see, like, that's savage if she doesn't use it and they would still vote her out. Like, ooh,
Yikes.
they must. That's so much. Like, but they do get to reconvene all together and all talk, and like she can be like, "This, I did this for us. Like, I really wanted to show you how loyal I was, and like an opportunity for us all to bond together. Like, I want to be Lubu strong. Like, we set a few votes together. I wanted to make sure that happened, and we really get to that 6 and run this game together. Like, that's
yeah, unless they're going to tribal. Unless they're going to tribal right after the challenge, you never know. Because if that happens, I'd be like,
they're
oh,
not.
crap.
I mean, after the immunity, they haven't played the immunity yet, so they're definitely going to have time.
I think she comes back at the immunity challenge, like during the scenes from the next episode. So if they go directly to tribal after that,
well, she leaves in the morning. He said, right? And then they always
after 2 days,
and they always have tribal at night.
Yeah. Oh, fair. So they should have the afternoon.
After well, we should see if we can count and see how many stations are set up. If there's 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Because is it 6 or is it 5 or 6? Yeah. Or is it always going to be 6? Never mind. Always going to be 6.
Everyone's going to be so mad at her.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. I would.
And she like, they kept talking about, well, we keep winning the whole episode. I was like, we haven't really had a chance to even play because we just keep winning everything.
Yeah. So no, they're 100% going tribal. They get their first tribal. Taste the tribal. Yeah. And one of them will be on the chopping block. But Sydney definitely is in the hot seat for sure, just because.
Oh my God!
Don't injure your face, Sydney. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe she injured her face with the immunity challenge.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Especially since they've all had 2 days to bond without her, she should take the safety. You can't win if you go out at 12. I don't think she would go out at 12, to be honest, but I think that they would be able to convince another person that's not Lubu I
don't know. I'm just salty because I like my people on that tribe, but
and like Erica's on my team. Like, so it's not even like
I'm a big like, just make it one more round because you don't know what will change in the days between and anything.
But apparently things can change that you can't even plan for. Like, you could have your immunities taken from you without any warning.
Yeah. Garbage.
Like, even if, I kind of mentioned this before, but even if they said the person that you send to exile might change your fate in this game. Like, even just to put that in there.
A warning.
It's always beware, right?
Yeah.
Beware of who you send to Exile Island. They will have something that could.
They wouldn't have sent her.
Exactly. No. And so I guess they kept their mouths quiet because they want her to them to send her who would be more likely to screw things over for them. And so yeah. See, I don't like what you're doing, Survivor. Frustrating. Unity challenge is the one you use your feet only challenge with the blocks. Oh, and you stack them? That's fun. She won't necessarily be good at that because I don't think her legs are very long.
So you can't injure your face, is what you're saying?
I know. I think that the block could fall off and definitely land on your face.
I don't know about that.
Oh, Sydney.
Well, that's it for the episode, guys. I mean, we did squeeze out an hour and a quarter. Any other thoughts? Any other disgruntled comments around?
Just want to get to next Wednesday.
Do you though?
Yeah, I want to know right now what's happening. I don't feel satisfied with this episode, and I normally feel satisfied by the end of an episode of Survivor. Yeah, even if I'm not happy with the results.
I liked watching it, and I still enjoyed watching it, but I was, I can still be entertained. Well, like you said, like even if you don't enjoy the results, like I can still be entertained even if like I'm upset by the end of it or whatever. So I don't know. I was still entertained. I was just very annoyed at the same time, and it does take a piece of it away from me, like a piece of Survivor's soul away from me when they pull this kind of garbage. Because A, I don't trust them for the future, and B, it's just like lowbrow. I mean, that's like a below the belt kind of a move for me. So.
And also what kind of bugs me is the fact that, you're mentioning play testing the audience. Well, this is them play testing the audience for 41, but they've already filmed 42, which is probably going to be filled with this crap without them getting any feedback from the audience about like how garbage some of these twists are. So 41 is going to be similarly probably dissatisfying, I would say.
Have a test audience.
Please. Yes. Or film one season and then you get some feedback and then film another season instead of stacking them. Yes. Well, you know what? Maybe the reason why I didn't get on this season is because I would be so pissed that like there's all these new things. And then 43, they'll realize, okay, let's go back to our original format that works so well.
Back to basics, baby.
Back to basics. Let's get rid of everything. Make it a regular 39 days. Have the reward challenges. Like, you know what I mean? Go back to normal. That will be the season that I get on. Back to the basics. That's what I'm hoping for. Because like I would have been pissed if I was on this season. I think it's too.
They were like, Shan was pretty sloppy, but Chantele
would have
on it.
Would I have been on it? I don't even know. I've been just so annoyed.
Well, I'd be a sloppy mess if I ever made it on a show like that, which I never applied and I never will. But I would be the worst. You'd be literally reading me to filth every episode on a podcast. I'd be terrible.
What would you be doing?
Oh, chaos. It'd be chaos.
I'm gonna be like a wrestle hands type of thing. I mean, I could picture.
I would lose my mind. They would have to like psych eval me in the middle of the season just to make sure I can continue on.
Like an intervention, like breaking the fourth wall to have a conversation with you.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, I mean, I would love to watch that. That would really, really make my day. So, Jonathan, maybe you should change your mind and apply because you would get on the show, especially if you tell them that story.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, Jelly Donut says 41 and 42 will be like Nicaragua and Redemption Island, the Dark Era 2.0. Oh my God. I mean, I liked Redemption Island because of Rob, but like, oh, these seasons weren't great. We got Survivor back, guys. We got Survivor back. Well, thanks for talking me through this. I'm still really sad and upset because I don't think that this twist that she kind of has to take is going to put her in the best position for herself. I think it would have been better for her game just to give her immunity. You know what I mean? And like, then she would have an opportunity to go and make friends or make moves or whatever. But the fact that she's, no matter what, pissing off 5 or 6 people, it's just like.
Even if she could have chosen who was safe,
but
that would have been really a crappy twist for everyone else. But that could have been something exciting.
What if you don't do it and then don't have to talk about it? Like you can just say you were offered something else.
Well, it looks like they are giving her the floor to explain what happened. So I don't think that's part of the smashing or not smashing of the hourglass. Seems like she has to fess up.
Yep.
I think that they're kind of doing her dirty here, even though it's like looks like they're giving her a Hail Mary. Like it's like, no, they're definitely ruining her game. For sure ruining her game.
Or kickstarting it. Maybe it's the kickstart. I don't know. There's so much game left. I'm trying to be positive for Erica, but she's screwed.
Exactly, Jojo. Thank you.
Yeah,
she's screwed.
But maybe really not.
Like, why couldn't she just be on like one of the 2 teams and like be one of the losing team or not losing team, just like everybody else? Like, I didn't need this exile portion. I didn't need Jeff come to the island to basically persuade her to make this terrible game move for herself. And kind of feeding on her emotions around it to force her into doing this move.
Pick that rock. Rocks are never good. Never good going rocks.
Oh, poor girl. I mean, hopefully, you know what? Hopefully she'll be able to come out of this. But the fact that she's on the bottom, the fact that she's most likely going to screw over the people that she, for the most part, would need to make like her to save her. Because at one point it's going to be everybody but me, right? And so, like, if those people that are pissed at Erica are just like, how about we just do Erica right now because we know that she's not trustworthy? I don't think anybody's gonna be fighting for her to stay. Like, who's gonna be like, no, we can't do her. We have to do somebody else. They're like, oh, okay,
Heather.
sure, yeah, let's get rid of her.
Heather.
Sure, maybe.
Saves
like,
Erica.
Who's
Saves
gonna fight for her? Really, nobody. So she's screwed. Wish you the best, girl, because you're on my team. But this production has been dirty here for not even our entertainment because I'm not entertained by this.
No.
You guys have any final thoughts here? Oh, yes. Jeff should be like TJ Lavin and just shut up and host, right? Just enjoy the players. I love TJ. Like, when he talks too much, I'm always like, wait, sorry. Did you go off script there, TJ? Because, like, you said a little bit too much here.
TJ comes to the house.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it. What do we want to hear from our lovely viewers that are going to watch this after the live in the replay? Do we think that, well, easy one is that if Erica is going to smash the hourglass or not? What do we think?
Yeah, what do you think the whole twist or whatever you want to call it?
I'm assuming that she's going to smash it. So if that's the case and she does smash it, who do we think is going to end up going home? So we would be choosing between the winning tribe or winning team, which is Deshawn, Danny, Evie, Ricard, Nasir, and
Sydney.
And Sydney. So out of those 6 people, who do you think is most likely going to go home?
Danny or Sydney, my people.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan.
I'm gonna unzip.
You know what? Danny's could be in trouble actually if Evie comes back and is like,
I mean, I think it's very likely Sydney, but I think Danny is in some trouble as well because I think it would always be him before Nasir, before Deshawn. Yeah.
Okay, so Erica is safe if she breaks the hourglass.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that. But I'm saying, like, next week, is she safe? Like, I don't know. Ooh, what's this? Rumor is Jeff threatened to quit hosting unless production gave him some say in producing.
I think he's been producing for quite some time, though. I don't think this isn't a new thing.
No.
Well, maybe it's executive producing.
When you're on a show, I mean, there's different producers. So when you're on a show, you'll notice like the stars of your show and the second season, third season are all now producers, even though they're the lead actors. And that's because that's part of their contracts and stuff. So Jeff's, I'm sure, has been a producer from
the whole time,
9 seasons ago or something. You know what I mean? I'm sure that was part of his contract then. But as far as a creative producer, he's probably has a lot more power now. Yeah.
Well, you can tell because it's a lot more about him than it used to be. Eric, sorry, we said that. And Sydney, I think Shan will target Sydney because of her new alliance with Danny and Deshawn. I think Evie and Nasir will be fine. Yeah, I think Sydney's in the hottest of the hot seats. But yeah, go ahead.
Danny and Deshawn could be persuade Shan potentially and be like, hey, us, you know what I mean? So
yeah, well, that foursome is definitely coming together. Some people are saying it's
the camp out,
which I think is cute. Definitely. So love seeing this and how it's organically happening in another season where this was filmed before Big Brother even happened. So I think it's really interesting to see that both these seasons have their Black players feeling compelled to work together. Take a notice, society. Like, what's going on here? But I find it very fascinating. Danny and Deshawn could be safe for that reason because I think it's smart for Shan and Liana to lock that in, to have that as a foursome and protecting each other as much as you can. So yeah, I think Danny will be safe because of that reason, Jonathan. But I worry about Evie because Evie might not have liked that comment. Also, Celebrity Big Brother 3 is allegedly. Yeah. We heard this contacting Boston Rob salivating. I would love that. Love it. All right, well, that's all she wrote, everybody. Thank you for being here in the chat. Super fun having you guys in the discussion, and you guys for indulging me on my frustration with the show.
Yes.
So mad.
Oh, Jeff, take a step back. Anyways, please subscribe if you haven't done so already and be part of our little team here that loves to talk about this show. Even when we hate it, we love it. It's all love here. We'll always watch it and we'll just be critiquing it, with a little bit of a wagging finger. Are you guys working on anything you want to share with the people?
Oh God, I'm gonna go make dinner shortly in the next 10 minutes.
Beautiful.
That's all I'm working on.
And you, Jonathan?
Life.
The birth of like potentials. There's a lot of potential happening right now. A little behind the scenes.
Amazing.
I might feed into other things like Jeff is as well, producing.
Oh, we didn't even look at a game within the game. We'll look at it next time.
Wasn't happening this week, but last week, yeah.
We'll have 2 to do, I guess.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. And remember, in the comments, like it. But if you want to just let us know what you think is going to happen with this twist. Will or will not Erica break that hourglass? And if she does, who do you think would be leaving from that Baloo team, that merged tribe? I don't even know what to call them. Those people.
I'll be honest, they didn't really live for my Snatch game.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.